Hello, this is October 30th, 2019. Welcome to God's Grace Zone podcast. We are going to be continuing with 1 Corinthians 13. This is episode 5. Now, the last thing that we had read was about jealousy and vainglory. Let's go on ahead and continue. We'll start with verse 4 and read it over once again. Love endures long and is patient and kind. Love never is envious nor boils over with jealousy, is not boastful or vainglorious, does not display itself haughtily. Now going back, let's kind of freshen up a little bit because it'd been a while since I had done any more of these, so we need to kind of freshen it up. So, love means a benevolent. Love is benevolent, and benevolent means marked by or disposed to doing good, organized for the purpose of doing good, marked by or suggestive of goodwill. That's what love does. It does things benevolently. And we had gone on to talk about haughtily, which is blatantly and disdainfully proud, having or showing an attitude of superiority and contempt for people or things perceived to be inferior. Love is patient, which means bearing pains or trials calmly or without complaint, manifesting forbearance under provocation or strain, not hasty or impetuous, steadfast despite opposition, difficulty, or adversity. Forbearing means to hold one back especially with an effort to control oneself when provoked. Impetuous means marked by impulsive, venomous, or passion. So being patient is not impetuous, which is impulsive. Impetuous is marked by impulsiveness and venomous. Venomous is intensely emotional, bitterly, antagonistic. Antagonistic means showing dislike or opposition. So, these are things that love isn't. I mean, it really sounds completely the opposite of what love is. Envious. Love isn't envious. Painful or resentful awareness of an advantage enjoyed by another, joined with a desire to possess the same advantage. Also, the feeling of showing envy. Love isn't jealous, hostile toward a rival or one believed to enjoy an advantage. We had also come to the conclusion that envious and jealousy are pretty well of the same thing. Basically, you're bothered because somebody else is blessed. And now we're on vainglory. The love is not vainglorious, which would be similar to haughtily, excessive or ostentatious pride, especially in one's achievements, a vain display or show. Now remember, haughtily is blatantly and disdainfully proud, or having or showing an attitude of superiority and contempt for people or things perceived to be inferior. Vainglory is excessive. It has excessive pride, especially in one's achievements, and it's got a vain display. It shows a vain display. Let's move on to verse 5. It is not conceited, arrogant, and inflated with pride. It is not rude, unmannerly, and does not act unbecomingly. Love, God's love in us, does not insist on its own rights or its own way, for it is not self-seeking. It is not touchy or fretful or resentful. It takes no account of the evil done to it. It pays no attention to a suffered wrong. Conceited means arrogant and inflated with pride, which is what it's got in parentheses. Arrogant means exaggerating or disposed to exaggerate one's own worth of importance, often by an overbearing manner, showing an offensive attitude of superiority. Arrogant and haughtily really sounds similar, just like envious and jealousy does. So, 1 Corinthians chapter 13 really emphasizes on these certain points about not being envious, not having jealousy, not acting arrogant or haughtily or having vainglory. Those particularly mark selfishness. Every one of those mark selfishness, which God does not like selfishness. He likes selfless things. And that's what chapter 13 is talking about, being selfless. As it says down here, love does not insist on its own rights, selfless, or its own way, selfless, for it is not self-seeking, which would be selfish. It is not touchy or fretful or resentful. It takes no account of an evil done to it. So, love overall is a very selfless act. It's a selfless feeling. It is selfless. And once again, it is asked, how is it possible for us to perform love like this? How is it possible for us to even partake of this kind of love when, we are done wrong, when we feel like we're being left out, when we're being ignored, or we're being purposefully stabbed at, or whatever? How do we perform these acts of love? It's through knowing Jesus Christ, and it's through getting closer to Jesus, and it's through asking Him to give you strength to be the kind of love that He is to others. Because everybody needs love. That's one thing that has always been determined, that everybody needs love. Even the most evilest acting person needs love. And a lot of times when a person does wrong to another, it is because they don't feel love and they're trying to get that attention. So by us getting closer to God and asking for Him to give us strength to perform His kind of love is the only way that we can. And yes, it does get hard. It gets tough when things comes against us. It is very hard for us to act out in love toward the person who has done us wrong. But we are to do it because it is a representation of God. Remember what Jesus Christ went through. He was brutalized. He was ripped with a rip of 9 cattails. Do you know what those consist of? There are 9 individual rips on this one rip, and the tips are embedded with glass, shards of glass. And Jesus was ripped with one of those, which means that every time that rip would fall across his back, the glass on the ends of those rips would tear his flesh. They pulled his beard out. They spit on him. They kicked him. And this was all before they hung him on the cross. The word says that they brutalized him so greatly that no one could even recognize him. Imagine that. But yet still, when he hung on that cross, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." That's love. Father knew what his son was going to go through. And yet he so loved the world so much that he still put his son through that. That is love. So I appreciate you listening. And I want to thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification button for more notices of when these podcasts come out. Thank you.